Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today, we're diving into the agonizing, completely exhausting reality of modern dating's most ambiguous trap, the situationship. You know the drill, right? You get all the physical and emotional closeness, but literally none of the commitment or future security. Well, today we're going to decode exactly why that feels so incredibly painful. And spoiler alert, it is not because you're needy. We're going to look at the fascinating biological truth behind all this, pulling directly from clinical attachment science to see what is actually going on inside your body. Seriously, what actually happens in your chest when they take 2 whole days to reply? Let's immediately challenge that intellectual lie we all tell our friends over brunch. You know, the one where you insist you're just going with the flow or keeping things casual. But honestly, when that silence stretches out, we have to acknowledge the physical reality of what's happening. The hypervigilance, that bracing for impact, the tight chest, or even the falling tears while you're just sitting there waiting for a reply. Your brain might be saying, hey, I'm fine, but your posture and your racing heart, they're telling a completely different story. Let's redefine what we're actually dealing with here. A situationship isn't just about two modern independent people deciding to avoid labels. No. From a clinical perspective, it is a massive disruption to your baseline biological need for safety. It's a system perfectly designed to never answer fundamental questions of safety, which keeps your body in a state of chronic activation. You aren't just casually hanging out, you are trapped in a scenario that actively prevents your nervous system from ever settling down. Here's the absolute core of it. From the cradle to the grave, human beings are hardwired to require a primary attachment figure. Your body is constantly scanning the environment, constantly asking these two fundamental questions beneath the surface. Are you there for me? And am I enough for you? But in a situationship, the answer to both is this echoing vague maybe. And to your biology, a maybe feels incredibly dangerous. This perfectly highlights the gap between your mind and your body. Your intellect might commit a little accounting fraud telling you that everything's cool, you're just seeing where things go. But your human body, it's the original distributed ledger. It logs every single interaction, it records every moment of safety and every single moment of abandonment. So while your mind says, I'm totally fine keeping things casual, your biology absolutely cannot accept that. It's screaming, this is an existential threat. When the relationship is built on guessing, your body reads that ambiguity as pure danger. There's this quote from the source material that I absolutely love. It says, your limbic system is like a naked mole rat. It only knows touch and smell. It only knows whether you are safely held or whether you are completely alone. Your nervous system literally cannot hear your logical cognitive excuses about how super busy your partner is at work this week. When the answers are ambiguous, your nervous system feels exactly like a lost animal that's been separated from the safety of its pack. It is that visceral. Now, if you've been in this spot, you've definitely heard the mainstream dating advice from friends or social media. Set a strict boundary, just walk away. They're a manipulative narcissist. Or, hey, maybe you are being needy. Mainstream advice loves to put people into these neat little boxes of villain and victim. And sure, that sells a lot of self-help books, but it entirely misses the actual truth of how our nervous systems are built to function. If we actually look past those harsh villain and victim labels, what we see is profoundly human. We see two protector parts negotiating distance just to survive. Neither person is inherently the bad guy. You really can't pathologize a human organism for simply trying to stay safe. What you're really looking at is two terrified children in adult bodies. Both of them desperately want connection, but both are entirely too scared to ask for it outright. Section 1, the waltz of pain, a collision of survival strategies. Okay, so you aren't just casually dating. You're locked in this intense negative feedback loop where your childhood survival strategy is colliding head on with theirs.
Let's look at the two dancers here. First, the relentless lover. Their deepest fear is abandonment. So their biology panics at inconsistency. They end up settling for breadcrumbs, like treating a midnight text as a feast because they're starving, absolutely terrified that asking for clarity means being left behind. On the flip side is the reluctant lover. Their deepest terror isn't abandonment. It's the suffocating fear of being a disappointment. So they use the ambiguity of the situationship as a ripcord. It's a brilliant strategy for them, really. They get the warmth of human closeness without the expectations of permanence. Section 2, the slot machine effect, why we stay. So if this cycle is so painful, why on earth do we stay? Well, it comes down to a biological trap. Think of it like a slot machine for your nervous system. You are bouncing constantly between starvation and breadcrumbs. When they go silent for 2 days, you plummet into the dark basement of abandonment. But then, ding, your phone lights up with a warm text. Your body gets this massive, overwhelming hit of relief. And here's the trick. Your biology confuses that sudden rush of relief with actual love. That intermittent reinforcement forces your body to treat a tiny scrap of attention like a massive feast. The source text uses this really brilliant economic concept to describe this, a fiat relationship. We live in a culture that speculates on human connection. In a fiat relationship, people print affection. They literally cannot back with the gold standard of real commitment. But the biological truth is that you cannot print your way to a secure base. You absolutely cannot build a secure attachment on ground that shifts without warning. Living in this state of chronic biological panic inevitably leads to what's called protest behavior. So if you've ever sent a highly critical, messy text and felt incredibly embarrassed about it the next morning, please hear this. Your protest behavior makes complete sense. It's not you being toxic. As the source puts it, it's just your biology doing its job. It's a desperate plea for connection from an organism fighting for survival because it realizes there is absolutely no solid ground beneath its feet. Section 3, how to break free. Stop decoding their signals. Googling labels or constantly decoding their text will not fix a limbic panic in your body. The only way out requires a radical internal shift called reflexive participation. You have to take the flashlight of awareness, turn it completely away from them, and point it directly inward onto your own experience of self. Stop pretending you are perfectly fine with a connection that offers no solid ground. Instead, deeply notice the tightness, the physical anxiety, and the absolute panic in your own chest when you're left waiting. Here is the exact roadmap. Number 1, stop analyzing them. Number 2, turn that flashlight inward. Number 3, feel your raw vulnerability. You have to ride what's called the C curve all the way down, completely dropping the story of what is wrong with them, and admit to yourself that you are terrified of losing them. Admit you're accepting breadcrumbs because you're too scared to ask for a real meal. And finally, number 4, tell the absolute truth. Once you hit the bottom of that vulnerability, you have to do the bravest thing possible, because protecting yourself is not the same as connecting. You must look at the person you're seeing, leave your weapons at the door, and share your soft underbelly. Don't criticize. Don't issue an ultimatum. Just tell them that your biology is constantly asking if you matter and that this lack of clarity is really hurting you. And this brings us to the revelation. Revealing your most vulnerable self forces the truth to the surface. If they can meet you there and hold your fear without getting defensive, you might actually have the foundation to build what is called a sovereign US. But if they roll their eyes, pull away, or call you too heavy, well, you have your answer. And look, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they're trapped in their own survival strategy, and they simply cannot be a secure base for you. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought based on the source material today. You have to decide that your nervous system deserves an actual answer. Are you ready to stop printing emotional currency just to buy a few more weeks of false comfort? You really have two choices here. Do the agonizing proof of work required to build a real relationship, or give each other a fist bump, walk away, and find someone who offers the solid ground needed to finally build a cathedral with you. The choice is completely up to you, and your biology is waiting for your answer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and take care of your nervous system out there.